All right, welcome to Pass the Mic, Friday, November 1st, 2024, episode 136. We have hit November. Mike Piotta here on Zoom. Joining me, Michael Gervasi.
What's up? What's up? No Shave November.
Yep, just finished passing out candy. Actually, one of the more mild Halloweens that I can remember of all time, actually.
Weather-wise?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Al Gore. Or thank you, Al Gore.
Did you have that one lined up?
I did. I remember we did that in an older episode. So feedback and errors. Not a lot of feedback or errors. Gary Bailey did clarify the apple cider. Well, Gary Bailey and Coach Tony clarified the apple cider. Gary Bailey did not like when I responded with a laughing emoji.
No.
That apple cider is not vegetarian.
Right.
And I laughed at it. And
are you mocking him?
I thought it was a joke. And then I did know that apple juice is heavily pasteurized because you can buy apple juice and first of all, you know that most fruit juices, what their base juice is, I'm giving it away. It's apple juice.
Okay.
Like if you look at a lot of juices, because everything's just filled with flavors. But apple juice you could open and sit in your fridge for probably a year or so. Apple cider is much different. You get apple cider, you put it in your fridge, and it eventually gets that vinegar smell. And it's not pasteurized. It's basically where this all went, right?
Yeah, I'm wondering where you're going right now. Go on.
But a lot of things that are considered non-meat have animal products in them. Okay. So it all depends on how strict of a vegetarian someone is. I'm a part-time vegetarian. I don't even know if you'd really call it. I limit my meat intake. And I try to not eat meat 4 days a week. Some people claim that some vegetarians shouldn't even eat eggs or fish. But I talk to other vegetarians that do eat those things. You know what I mean? My wife does not eat any meat products. No eggs, no fish, no meat. All right. Gary Bailey. Now, I think Coach Tony, and we're spending way too much time on this.
Yeah, I'm trying. I got a quote here too.
All right. Coach Tony was more along the line that there could be animal products used in making apple cider. Gary Bailey went one step further with his explanation. Do you want to share what his explanation was?
No, go ahead. You got this. I don't want to.
He claims that apple cider is, non-processed. You take the apples, you grind them up, and you get apple cider. And when you do that, who knows what protein animals could be in there, up to and including mice, I believe is what the term he referred to, right? Isn't that what it was? I never imagined.
I didn't want any part of this. I told you. Don't ask me any questions.
I don't. We might be killing the apple cider industry. We might be. I don't know if this is true. I'm not saying Gary Bailey's lying. I had a glass of apple.
So what is your point here?
I had a glass of apple cider this morning. There's a lot. Listen, there's a lot of things that can be. A little spider or something could sneak into a burger or into a grilled cheese. Does that mean you're not a vegetarian anymore? I don't know. I don't know the rules.
Okay, so here's what I mean. I'm going to read the email. He didn't tell us not to.
Okay.
Apple juice.
Apple juice is pasteurized, and
apple juice and apple cider are made. I can't. Okay, I gotta keep it together. My apologies. Apple juice and apple cider are made from the juice of pressed apples. The main difference between cider and juice is how they're processed. Apple cider is raw, unfiltered, and unsweetened, and it's typically sold unpasteurized. Vegetarians do not eat animal protein. Notice the above paragraph does not mention removal of worms, and other insects, or even.
Okay, this probably happens.
Can we cut this?
No. This probably happens with like jellies and jams too, I bet, right?
Everything is ground in hopefully very large pieces, but bugworm juice will get through animal protein, but taste.
Oh, so nothing about a mouse. Did I make up the mouse part?
So, this quote falsely attributed to Otto von Bismarck. He probably didn't say this first, but basically, laws are like sausages. It's better not saying how they're made. This is kind of the same thing.
Listen, I just think along the same lines, like jams and jellies. You don't know what you're squeezing in there. We may have just changed the whole maybe Trump will, maybe Trump and Robert Kennedy will bring us up into the FDA. Maybe we'll be the chair people of the FDA.
You think Bobby's gonna bring us?
They're going to hear this podcast and they're like, these guys know what they're talking about. They're perfect for our cabinet.
I'm not. I haven't said anything. I can't even keep it
Oh,
together.
well, I'll be the secretary. You can be my undersecretary.
Sounds good.
All
Okay.
right. Any other feedback that you want to get to?
No, I got none.
None. Okay. Well, then
This
it's
is
your time for your mic of the week.
this is going off the rails. Okay. So I hope I didn't do this one. I didn't. This has just been for research. It's been a bad week, but with Michigan basketball starting, I decided to go a Michigan basketball route. I'm sure if I've done this one, Max will definitely let me know. But on the '89 national championship team, the most little known regular on the team was a fifth starter named Mike Griffin.
Oh,
Um, Mike Griffin was a small forward on that team. It was just the glue guy before it was an in thing. He didn't score much. He just defended people and maybe took a shot a game or something like that. But Mike Griffin is my Mike of the week.
oh, excellent. Okay. Mike Griffin.
Mike Griffin.
Griffin, not Griffith.
Griffin.
Griffin. I have no idea who that is. He could walk in and want to be in my cabinet and the FDA, and I would have no clue.
If you saw Mike Griffin, you would also think that this guy does not look like a basketball player either.
Well, that's all you get some of that in college every once in a
He did.
while.
He did.
Not as much the NBA. Now,
No,
you need to go back and look at like some old 70s and 80s NBA players. There's like some I see some stuff on TikTok sometime, and it looks like a guy, like there'll be these things making fun of you, like, accountant by day, starting center for like the
yeah,
Washington Bullets or something like that. There's some guys that it was a much less athletic league, uh, top to bottom, I would say.
of course. I mean, that's the joke JJ Redick called the old NBA players. He said Michael Jordan was playing against plumbers.
Well,
Uh,
I'm talking about even the generation before that, like
and he
the
might not have been talking about Jordan, but yeah, you're right. But listen, I got Mike Griffin, a couple of really interesting stats here about him. His field goal attempts average per game in his college career were 2.2. He didn't take very many shots. Even his senior year was 3.4. But his freshman year, he averaged 15 minutes a game. You just wonder at that time if Michigan thought they had something with him, and he
yeah.
just maintained that role. Played 31 games that year, but his senior year, 89, 88, junior year, excuse me, the year they won the national title, he started 31 of the 37 games his senior year, 30 out of 30. That was the year they lost to Loyola Marymount, the team with Hank Gathers. And
Oh
for
yes,
those
Hank
listening,
Gathers. Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
well, Gathers had passed away at that point. It was Bo Kimball. You remember he'd shoot the
Yes.
with
Yep.
his
Yep.
pretty cool. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
All right, great, Mike. All right, education topic. We were talking to Rocky, talked to Rocky Georgie today, and many elementary teachers will tell you their worst work day of the year is Halloween day. Is the day of Halloween. It's usually
mhm.
for us, it's a full day of school. I know a lot of some districts around us were a half day. But it's just a lot. I mean, everyone's work day is a lot, and then you add into what Halloween is, and it's just a lot. And I remember I didn't because of our work schedule. I think one year, I think Chloe's kindergarten year, I took a day. I took Halloween off, personal business, so
Uh-huh.
they can go look it up way back and whatever. I took a personal business day and went to the party and did all that stuff, and that was like the only time I did it because I just Elisa, I think her job didn't allow for it, so I did it, and I didn't want to do it again. I
Yeah.
did it one time, and I had all new respect. I always have respect for elementary teachers, but I had newfound respect that day of like, oh my
Sure.
lord, what did I get myself into? They're helping kids get these costumes on. There's food everywhere. It's just so that I came up with the topic of what is your day of the work year that is you're least looking forward to. Okay, it could be because of when it is in the school year. It could be because of what goes on in the school year. But at our level, at the high school level, what is the worst day of your work year and why?
Okay. I'm going. Can I do bronze, silver, gold?
Sure, because I actually have three as well.
Okay. My bronze is the first day of the NCAA tournament, that
Okay.
Thursday,
Yep.
because I feel like my mind is not there. So I can't imagine the kids, the
Yeah.
sports fans anyway, because like all I can think about is what I'm missing. And a lot of people I know take that day off. I took it off one year. Michigan was playing a early game that year, and I wanted to watch. And you know, Jessica Schultz knew and played a little joke on me. saying that she, this was a day we couldn't take off, something like that. It
Yeah.
was funny because I hook, line, and sink. It was funny because the house I went to, they were having a St. Patty's Day party that day, and I went, and I'm already feeling guilty. I walk in their house, and it was in Plymouth, but they use the same world history textbook we do, and there's the world history textbook that I use. Man, that's a sign. So that's my bronze.
Okay.
My silver is the Thursday before that Christmas break. Friday, it's kind of a more of a festive, we're all
Yeah.
going to sort of, but that Thursday, if you want, like the kids know, everybody's minds are there.
Yes. I mean,
You know,
they're looking at the door. They're looking at they're two wheels on West Jefferson.
yeah. And then, but my worst day has always been this way. We no longer go on this day. Nice job, Union, on this one because it was a horrible day. The Wednesday before Thanksgiving. That day,
I was going to mention that. Yes. Okay. Excellent. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, that day I've learned it when you try to have practices that day. It's just a day because it's been such a long marathon getting to that point that nobody is there. So that's my bronze, silver, gold.
Yeah, and and we now do have it off. We have the full Wednesday
Right.
off. And you'd think about it, it was always hard. Like I felt for people that had to, if you were like part of me, because really Thanksgiving dinner, you're starting that early the next morning, so you need that Wednesday, or you go out of town. Like you're right. Meanwhile, at Christmas, you get days after the holidays that are there's nothing going on and you're sitting around for a whole week. Not that I'm complaining,
No.
but like yeah, that one day is so valuable, and you're right. So what I wrote, and that was one of my old ones, that was the worst day, but since it's fixed, I don't have it on my list.
Okay. All right.
um, so again though, any half day, we got rid of these too, and I think the district likes it and we like it. Any half day that was before a holiday break, so like way back when the Christmas day was the day before Christmas, that day was awful, because you want to talk about the Thursday before, at least it was a full day of school
Yeah.
and people were in. When you had a half day before a holiday break, half the people, the reason you don't have them anymore is because nobody comes, and
Right.
you might not make the count. But if the people that did come, there there's nothing that can be done, and it's just delaying the inevitable, and it's like
Yeah.
it's total chaos. I'll never forget, many years ago, I my room is where Kelly Warren's room is currently, way back before I lost touch with the classroom. And it was, we'd always show a Christmas movie, right? Like on the Channel 1 TVs. And I had to use the restroom. And like my room's right there. And I mean, I like using the student bathroom had a urinal. And so that's what I had to go in and use. I walk in there, there's a kid smoking a cigarette
Oh,
on this dang half day. And I'm like, and he cups it in his hand as I walk in, as if the room's filled with smoke. And like,
yeah.
I go, come on, man. I go, what are you doing? I go, you can't make it till 10:50. Like, what? And he goes, I'm not doing anything. I'm like, we're playing. I go, we're gonna play this game.
Yeah.
Happy holiday. I walk him all the way down to the office. The whole time this thing's cupped in his hand, and I go, open your hand. And sure enough, he opens his hand. His skin's all charred and red.
Uh,
And Merry Christmas. That was
yeah.
my gift to. So that day was always awful. But it's gone. So my next one, my silver, is also gone. The old SAT day, the real SAT day, when it was the paper test. But now that we talked about this in the last
Yeah.
episode, it's not. But that when it was the paper test, and if you had to give the full SAT, worst day of the year, worst day of the year, because you had to give out everyone's book by name, you had to bubble in stuff. You had, everyone was on the same schedule. It was just an awful test. It was an
Mhm.
awful test. You had to be looking out for anyone trying to cheat, because it's a big deal. But that's also gone too. It's all online. We mentioned last week. That's easy. So now I don't even have a silver. So what is my gold? It's any day. So I guess if we have to pick a single day, and I mentioned this to Rocky when we were throwing ideas around, because we were having a hard time finding one that's current, right? I
Mhm.
like your Thursday. Uh, he said the makeup M step. I said any of them M step. So I guess I got to pick one of the M step days. We do it staggered, right? So these kids, these juniors, who, by the way, just finished taking the SAT, the
Yeah.
real
That's a
SAT,
good one.
they
I didn't.
just finished taking the work keys, another test.
Right.
Okay, the SAT is the one that only really matters to the kids, the few kids. Then you get to tests. Okay, so kids that care about it. Then you get to a test that doesn't matter at all, other than reflecting on the school and the staff. And then
Yeah.
you get to this M step test, which does nothing for these kids. There's no benefit to it. All they do is they get out of class a couple hours. They don't care about it. We get reflected on it. It messes up everyone's schedules because kids get pulled out and stuff like that. It's just it's it's the worst day. It's the worst day
Kids
because
coming in and out. Yeah, it's
it's a
I
total
didn't
and
think
it's a
about that
total
enough.
waste. It's a
That's tough.
waste
Yeah.
too. You
Okay.
want to talk about the importance of days and contact time. Again, someone's making money, not us. Someone's making money. And for what, I don't know. So that's it. M step day. Rocky said M step makeup days because it's a, it's a test that doesn't mean anything. And now you didn't take the original one and you're
Yeah.
wasting more time in doing a makeup, which
We
is
got to
even
do the
better.
announcements to get the kids, and then you got to
Oh
track the
my
kids
God.
down.
Because I'm in the library usually. I usually don't give it. I usually do the makeup sometimes. I'm the guy whose job it is to go round up all these kids that don't even want to be in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
and you
come
have
in.
that on tighter lockdown than Fort Knox those days too.
Oh yeah, library's closed.
Yeah.
It's not a for me. It's actually personally not a bad day. I'm
Sure.
just thinking in education.
Yeah.
All right, great job. I think that was a. I still think if you go K-12, it's Halloween.
Yeah.
Like if you had to put me into a yeah, like I think oh man, I couldn't do it. All right, overrated, underrated. Now in the past, many years ago when we first started doing this, we did candy, straight out candy because I don't
Right.
remember we talked about but I want to. It's Halloween night. We're recording this on the 31st. I want to limit this because I've seen a lot of these people just ranking chocolate candy, chocolate bars. Because chocolate bars get a lot of like I didn't even use. I don't think I remember because I remember the flavored Tootsie Rolls were my underrated because that was my thing. So we weren't even in that area. What is your overrated marquee candy bar?
This one, I was polling the kids a little bit today. They said Almond Joy, and I was going to go with that one, but I don't know
I mean,
if
that's
that's
bad. It's not overrated. Do
yeah.
people think it's bad?
I'm going
And
Kit
I
Kat.
don't personally think it's bad. I like it. I don't love it, but I think
I'm
you're
not
going
a
at
fan, but
bad. Yeah.
I'm going Kit Kat. I think a lot of people like
Oh, interesting.
Kit Kat. I don't think they're very good at all.
The original Kit Kat. Because there's a lot of different.
The original, I'm sorry, broke up there. Yeah, the original Kit Kat. I'm not, no, I
They were
think it's over.
good. Like all these, they were really good when back when they were wrapped in foil.
That's you. That's your thing. I never liked them.
All right. My overrated. This one's probably going to punch again. I'm not going with the like to me the almonds. Again, I don't dislike almond joy, but I think that's those when kids are saying it, that's because it's bad. They don't like it. They don't like the
Yeah.
coconut. For me, overrated just because it's overrated. There are it's like a marquee candy bar. Some people are going to say it might be their top. I think it's just overrated. There are other ones I think that don't get the limelight, and I'm going to say it's a Snickers bar.
Okay.
And
How
again,
come?
not bad. It's not a bad
Yeah.
candy bar. It's very good.
Overrated doesn't mean
I
bad.
don't think it's the king. This is a poster child for overrated does not equal bad. All
Okay.
right. Underrated. What do you got?
So this one I've really had a hard time with, and I don't know if it's I don't know the price if it's because it's more expensive than the general candy bar. But to me, Dove milk chocolate bars are awesome. And I wish they were more of a regular for Halloween. Kristen mentioned to me, it's more of a Valentine's Day, something like that. But to me, Dove chocolate bars are so good. And Mike, I swear to you, I mind over matter. There's some things that I don't want to eat because I saw something or read something. Like I'm a
Is
little
there animal
leery.
products in them?
Mr. Bailey's ruined me on apple cider, but and honestly, I haven't had apple cider since I read that. I don't know if that's the direct cause, but nonetheless, I watched something on Dove chocolate bars being made. I just thought they looked so good. It was so now I think even higher of Dove, but I'm going Dove. It's underrated.
You're a one percenter with doves.
Yeah,
All
well,
right.
I'm looking the prices up right now. So
I
yeah,
got to get them
what's
when they're on sale.
yeah,
Can I slide two in? I'm going to just do one. I'll just do one. Underrated. I'm going to sound like a one percenter too. The score bar. Have you ever had one?
yeah, I have.
It's sort of like Heath's upper class cousin, not Miss Heath. Uh, but it's the same thing basically. A good toffee bar, which I don't. The thing about those, they're not something you want all the time. Like a Snickers bar, soft, these soft, but like a score bar, it's a little work with that hard toffee. But man, they're good. It's a nice little thin bar, and again, underrated. I don't think when you go, hey, grab me a candy bar. It's not like in your first three or four that you're thinking of that you're going to get a candy bar of.
Well, I gotta ask, do you ever say to anybody, "Hey, get me a candy bar"? Is this a regular thing?
Well, BPA was just selling candy. Brooklyn, who's in my library class, and I'm like, hey, what kind of candy bars do you have in there? Because I like the caramel, and they were all sold out. So if they had toffee, I might have bought it. I don't say
Okay.
just give me a candy bar, but okay, when you go trick or treating, okay, if your kid comes back with a bunch of stuff and you say, "Hey, throw me a candy bar out of there," are they going to throw you a score bar? Probably not.
Mike, can you repeat what you
I
said
said if
again?
your kids come back in with a bunch of candy and you say, "Hey, throw me something out of there," they're probably not throwing you a score. Odds are they're going to throw you a Snickers.
True, true.
That's the point of it. We'd love to hear what everyone thinks, what they're overrated, underrated. I'm sure you're going to get some heat for the Dove. You're going to
So
get
listen,
some.
I will. But here's the thing. I'm looking at the prices of like I just looked up a Hershey bar, $1.29. This
Okay,
Dove now it's a Dove caramel, $1.97. Really not that much different.
okay, not that different.
Yeah.
I buy Doves like in the bag, and they're all just individually wrapped.
Yeah.
That's I'm not. I don't eat a bar of them. Dark chocolate, by the way, that's my go-to.
Yeah,
It's
good
good
stuff.
for you. Good for
Yeah.
you too. Once Donald puts me in at the FDA, I'll have it at my first press conference. No. All right. Um, hot mic take. What do you got this week? Oh, whoa.
Man, I'm struggling over here.
You're turning your camera off. I didn't know what was
I've
going
never
on.
even had
All
there's
right,
been
hot mic take. What do you got?
all right. So the other day I'm watching a basketball game and it got me thinking, if you could take your life and just walk into somebody else's life, not necessarily a specific person, but just do something else, just for one day, like be a king or whatever. Mine is I would love to play in an NBA game. I want to like step out of myself and just feel what it would be like to play against guys that are that big and strong, that run that fast, and the crowd and everything. And so I want to know from the listener, and I want to know from you. Obviously, you probably haven't thought about this, but I'm just watching this game the other day. I'm like, man, what would it be like to be that athletic? What would it be like to, and then it was like, okay, what would it be like to guard that guy? What would it be like to hear the crowd when you do something? And obviously basketball being my favorite sport, so I'm sure, would it be the sport? Would somebody like to, talk about rallies where, whatever you think about the candidates, the fact that they command audiences the way they do, so would that be it? Would it be, the adulation that certain, pop stars get or something like that? What would you like to do if you could just step out of Mike Pioti's shoes and not be a librarian for a day and you are going to go do something else for one day?
Yeah, so you'd want to play in an NBA game. I would. I don't necessarily. I would. Man, that's a good question. Off the cusp, when you started talking about it, because to me, it's not like I don't want to, work at the Library of Congress, or I don't want to be the director of the FDA or
Right.
anything like that. I always, and maybe it was my dad being a mechanic growing up, and then I knew I could never go into this field because my eyesight wasn't good enough. I would always love to be able to fly like a jumbo jet, like
Okay.
one time, like transatlantic, something
Yeah.
like that. And I know I could never do it. Sort of like you. No offense, you probably could never play in the NBA. My eyesight, I can't. I was never gonna. If you don't have naturally good eyesight, you're done. You're
Right.
out.
Right.
But that's something that it just to me it'd be so cool, like these machines and uh, be up there once. And I guess and me, I like talking on a microphone, so I could be like that annoying pilot that says a bunch of stuff and
That
that
would be,
sort of
I,
thing.
I see to me, um, an NBA game is harmless. I would get anxious thinking about that. Like if you were to drop me into a pilot,
Well, I
like
mean, I'd have a good co-pilot with me or
that's
something.
true. But
I'd have Tom Hanks.
now I'm like
Oh, I
thinking
mean Sully.
a television show, Quantum Leap, where you leap into the body of
Oh
somebody.
yeah, what a great show.
The reboot wasn't very good. It only lasted
Scott
two.
Bakula.
Yeah, Scott Batt, it was great.
No, I remember
Reboot.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
I
did.
loved the show.
Yeah,
They did some really cool stuff on there, but they did a reboot, canceled going into this season, and yeah, it just wasn't the same.
yeah, not the same. All right, my hot mic take is you know me, we've talked about this before. I like getting carry out probably more often than I should. Dave Ramsey probably wouldn't be happy with me. This probably hurts my FDA chances. Where do you draw the line on an item that you're just not getting it as takeout because it's not the quality drop off from
Hmm.
getting it from where it is to home, even whether you're doing it or whether you're delivering it, is too much and you don't want to, it's like to you, it's like a waste of money. So obviously like pizza is probably like the most long-standing delivered item.
Hmm.
And I think we can say that pizza, for the most part, especially they put them in the bags, it's fine. Like that's something you could clearly take home.
Hmm.
Um, there are certain things that are no goes for me, like ever. Like to me, like I saw someone post the other day complaining about how their DoorDash breakfast, which included like an omelet and stuff. To me, like breakfast has to be piping hot.
That's me right there. Yeah.
Yes. And so like never a steak. Steaks are usually expensive, right? And then like to me, the minute you let a steak travel, it's just don't get a steak. Okay. So are there certain items to you that are no goes that you're not getting as carry out?
I think you nailed them. I think breakfast food.
Breakfast and steak. Don't get
Yeah,
steak and
I
eggs for
also,
sure.
to me, fries when they've
Yeah.
are no good anymore. And I'm pretty about those type of things. I'm not very picky, but yeah, I think you ruin them after just a short period. Fries to me are probably my number one though. Just at a certain point in time, they're kind of gross.
Yeah. I mean, they get soggy.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like in a burger too doesn't really transport well, especially if there's items on, if there's lettuce, tomato, if
Yeah, if
there's
you get stuff
produce
on,
on
right.
it.
The
So
bread gets
burger,
ruined pretty quickly.
yeah.
Um,
So
so
like,
yeah,
I mean, I
that's
think wings transport well. I mean, that's a good industry. Pastas transport well, just because the
wings,
nature of what they
pizza.
are.
That's tough. What else could I don't know.
Soups transport well because at their base they sit and simmer
Yeah,
and
I think a lot of chicken products do okay.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's tough. I'm definitely putting my fries as my number fries as
I mean,
number.
when we went to the Michigan game a few years ago, we brought that thing of chicken wings, and they
Yeah,
trans. I mean, chicken wings are going to be fine because you
yeah,
can eat them cold in all
right.
actuality. So just my thought. I'm thinking about that as always. I'm sure the food lovers, the people that love my commentary on food, I'd love to hear what some people think. But to me, steak, breakfast foods, totally out of there. Okay, speaking of the Michigan game, we're making our appearance back to Ann Arbor. I'm going to be a little late. We're going to see number one Oregon versus Michigan in Ann Arbor at 3:30. Same seats we were in for the big Michigan State game. Um, I don't think it's going to be the same outcome where we saw Michigan win that game. I
No,
don't think it's going to be an embarrassing blowout. I
I
don't
I
think it's
think
going to be like
okay. So is Will Johnson playing? I think that's one of the things you got to think about. Your best cornerback against that high powered offense. I think it's very important. I don't think Michigan will get blown out just because I think their defense can keep them in the game for a little while. But just offensively, I'm
no, they can't.
twenty-seven to
But
seven, something
what
like that.
worries me is their run defense after what Michigan State did to them.
Michigan, yeah, they did. They did. Um,
That was the most shocking aspect of that game to me.
yeah. And
So I think, but I
defensively,
still think
right.
they're going to lose by three scores. To me, I mean, is 21, is 28-7 a blowout?
That's what I was saying, 27 to 7, something
If
like
it's
that.
21-7 in the third quarter, to me, it's not really a blowout,
Right,
like you
right.
score. So I see them losing by three scores. Maybe it's two touchdowns and a field goal, but you know,
Sure.
could it be like what they've done to Ohio State the last couple of years? It could be, but we've talked about those games too. Those were blowouts at the end, but like Ohio State in the third quarter of those games was there. Like
Yeah,
they had to make a play, they didn't, and then it sort of collapsed around them.
right.
That's what happens sometimes.
Yeah.
When you wake up, sometimes games are one score games, and sometimes games are three score games, but there's a collapse there in the fourth quarter, and it
Yeah.
sort of happens. So okay, so we're both on the same page. A very good Indiana team is at Michigan State, who played well last Saturday. Obviously not well enough. People are high on Indiana. What do you got there?
You know what? Maybe Michigan State. They're going to pull the upset. I'm going to predict an upset.
Whoa. All
Yeah.
right.
They
I don't have to get a score. I don't think they're going to.
no
I think Indiana's again, I think Indiana's better than Michigan on offense, and I just think it's going to be a tough game.
doesn't it, water find its level? Isn't Indiana gonna find their
Well,
level?
I guess sometimes. And now the big game, the Steelers are off. Matchup of the week, arch nemesis in the NFC North, Detroit heading towards Green Bay. Is Love playing? I don't even know. Is he? It sounds like he is.
I, banged up quarterback. Yeah, you broke up there, but you banged up quarterback. But it sounds like he's gonna play. I'm still, regardless if he plays or not, I'm picking the Lions. They are, the other day and I am concerned. I am concerned about the pass rush. It looked, your former Steeler quarterback there looked a little too comfortable in the first half. And if not for some really odd play calling,
And if he looks comfortable, then something's wrong because he's
yeah. again, Lions offense is as good as it gets. And Valenti and Rico brought it up the other day. It's not just Hutchinson that the Lions have lost off the defensive line. They have lost a number of defensive ends. So I hope the trade deadline's coming up, but I still, regardless, I don't think Green Bay has the firepower to keep up. I just think the Lions are still, even without JMO and his shenanigans, I still think the Lions are going to win. So I'm predicting the Lions win. Let's go 34-31.
Well, I have them winning by 10. I'm not even going to give a score. I think they win even before this transformation occurred. And I realized they're not the same teams. This was the first team that the Lions sort of started getting their feet under with and beating Green Bay. I just think there's something about that they had take pride in winning these games. And I think I'm again, you know me, I'm a hater of Green Bay, and I still not totally sold on that. I'm more sold on the Bears and Vikings than I am than Green Bay, oddly enough.
Mm.
But so I think they're going to win this game by 10 points. I think it's going to be, it's going to be like they always say on Red Zone, the witching hour. But which, by the way, I saw you liked my tweet where Hanson mentioned B.F. Skinner in his Red Zone.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
Made me think of Dr. Rice.
Yeah. The good old Doc, he popped in today too in this Obi-Wan Kenobi outfit. Question for you: any analysis on the World Series?
I saw a thing today. Was it Stephen A. Smith? Who said it? God, no, it was Colin Cowherd said the Dodgers should go all out and pay for isn't what's his name on the Yankees, a free agent, the guy that didn't do much. Judge, is he a
Judge.
free agent?
So
They
there's
should pay him because dynasties are good for the sport.
oh,
So they should spend even more money. And I'm like, really? This is what's going to be good for the sport? Meanwhile, the Pirates signed some guy off of waivers from the A's that has a career 111 batting average. And so I commented on the Facebook post ordering my playoff tickets now, the official Pirates page.
well, Aaron Judge is not a free agent. Just letting you
Okay.
know. Till
I don't know who they were
2031.
referring to, who he gets, but oh yeah, sure. Why not just let the Dodgers do like a fantasy draft and pick their full roster, and then everyone else can pick. And then yeah, how exciting!
That's
I
so.
was happy because we mentioned this earlier today. Garrett Cole, who left the Pirates in a trade before he became a free agent, and then went to where all Pirate players end up, New York, did a great job covering first. So proud of you. I'm not like these phonies here that love Justin Verlander and Matt Stafford, then wanted them to see win somewhere else. And Garrett Cole did win somewhere else. But guess what? You blew it in New York under the biggest stage. Happy for you.
Just so for the record, you're not for cheering for a guy when they leave the home
No,
stadium.
that is
It's not
so
like a victory
lame,
for us. Okay,
lame,
just asking. I'm
dumb.
just curious what you
Yeah.
thought.
No, cheer for the people that wear the city's uniforms.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, like I don't. There's no. I definitely wasn't cheering for Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell wherever they were going. So,
No.
all
No.
right. By the time we record our next episode, we are going to set the date for our live show
Yeah.
with our guests. But also, will okay. So here's the question. Our next episode is Friday the 8th. Will there be an announced president of the United States by Friday the 8th? Most people are saying yes. I think the over under is somewhere like Wednesday morning, Tuesday night. By the way, Michigan's laws do allow them to process them now. I know we've had some back and forth discussion with this. I know Ms. Browning has mentioned something. I've heard on a podcast today that Michigan did say clerks can start. They don't have to wait till election day. That's what I heard. So
I, yeah, I think an announcement will be made, but where else we are at that point,
yeah, I think it's going to be Tuesday night. I think we made our already made our predictions on who won. I think that the only bad thing is Pennsylvania, I know, can't count until election day. And that's, to me, like I said, Pennsylvania
yeah,
it's gonna be Pennsylvania. So that may be the one reason why it's held up. So
so you're
we will
predicting
see.
before we go to bed, or potentially before we go to bed on Tuesday night, we'll know.
Yes, because I feel as if Vice President Harris won't have enough states where Pennsylvania will even matter. That's my prediction.
Okay.
But Michigan will be called before we go to bed.
Okay.
And Michigan, we said this last week, she'll win Michigan.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And then I'll send my resume in. Robert, Mr.
Robert Lee.
Kennedy.
And you're including
Well,
him.
I heard today they already said that that's not true. That like someone came out and said, I don't know what he's talking about. He's not going to be the Department of
Oh,
Health. And shocker that
Bobby went rogue. He's making stuff up.
well, I think somewhere said he said that he was going to, and then somebody in the campaign said this was not promised.
Wow.
Oh God, shocker. Well, maybe I
Yeah.
won't have my. I guess I won't have my job either. So, all right, everybody. We hope you had a great Halloween. Happy All Saints Day, right? Isn't that what November 1st is?
Yeah.
Happy, good Catholic here. All happy All Saints Day. And remember to vote. If you haven't voted already, it's probably too late. Don't put it in the mailbox now. Go drop it off.
No.
Don't trust the U.S. Postal Service. Have a great week. We'll see you next week, everybody.